Are you optimistic that the turnaround or the potential turnaround for the Hong Kong economy more broadly could make commercial property more attractive now?
Yeah, indeed. If you look back to the historical cycle, actually what the GDP has been doing in the last 2 decades has been highly correlated with all of the other real estate sector in Hong Kong. Now, we started to see some positive light with, as you mentioned, the GDP has rebounded quite significantly in the first quarter. Definitely, I think to the market itself, it will be good news, but how it actually feels across different key sectors is still depending on, well, I think how the vaccine is going to roll out to stabilize and hence to bring for the criteria of a more broader relaxation of socializing rules or COVID rules in the city.
So let's break it down into obviously commercial, office space and residential. I want to start off with the office space in particular. How disruptive will the pandemic and the work from home trend be for property in Hong Kong, particularly as you see in other places in Singapore, for example, major tenants like Stanchart seem to be giving up a lot of their physical footprint because of a prolonged or even permanent expectation that work from home will be here to stay?
I think for the work from home exercise, it feels different in different cities as well. But for a densely populated city like Hong Kong, we have relatively short commuting time, and we have relatively small residential units as well. So what we hear from the ground among all our clients and corporates are that making the work from home exercise is not really entirely feasible for all their staff here. And indeed, for some of the clients, they have mentioned that after the pandemic, they may consider to resume, with their staff fully back to the office. And I think secondly, another thing is that the COVID situation also strike an alarm or alert for the corporates to readjust or to be aware of the staff density and distancing in the office. So if you're saying, yes, part of the staff are going to be working from home, but at the same time, it's also very crucial to make sure that the staff staying in the office are spacing out in a relatively careful distance to make sure of their safety. So net, I think the work from home impact to the office spacing need is relatively small compared to the economic impact.
You mentioned the historical background of what happens when growth returns to Hong Kong and how that correlates to the property markets. But I wonder, given that we have a tighter grip from Beijing on the city, not to mention U.S.-China tensions, the pandemic and so forth, if that really relates to what's happening right now on the ground, especially when you're expecting investment appetite to return.
Well, actually, if we look back at data as well, in the first quarter, we already see a slight rebound in the investment sentiment. I think what we're hearing from the ground is also the real estate fund or institutional investor. They have been raising quite a lot of money last year, but because of the uncertainty, they pushed back slightly to roll out their money. And this year, we are hearing more interest coming back to the investment market again, although they still need some time to seek or hunt for the right properties. But yes, you're right in the sense that right now we do see some cases of downsizing for some of the MNCs in town, but it's really hard to pinpoint whether it's because of the political side effect or it's because of the economic effect after all. To be honest, I think the office sector weakness started to emerge since the second half of 2018 when the US-China trade tension is there. And then the next year we have the local protests, and then last year we have the COVID. So it's kind of like a combination of impact that drag down the economy itself. And whenever the economy is weakening, we usually see some downsizing and relocation move. But when the economy is come back up again, usually we will also see a quite significant rebound from these kind of corporates and international firms as well.